Welcome to the Everyday Moose with Griz, Chief and Scout. Hey Moosers, this is Griz with the Everyday Moose. We are here with a Virginia 2nd Regiment officer? Captain. Oh my gosh. It's great. Yes. It wasn't like a lonely enlisted like I was when I was in the military. So we're with Captain
Tolliver.
Hey, Captain Tolliver. How's it going? Well, we have some questions for you. So first question is, can you tell us who you're portraying today and what your role would have been in 1775?
Yeah. So my actual name is Sam McGinty. I'm the military program supervisor here. Today I'm representing Captain Tolliver, who is one of the captains of the 2nd Virginia Regiment. The regiment, which was raised in the summer of 1775, largely encamped down at the College of William and Mary as they were preparing for war at this point. A smaller select guard stayed here at the magazine to defend the building and the military stores therein. So this is what's referred to as a magazine guard, which shows in the layout of the camp. And this typically actually would have been under the command of a lieutenant. Oddly, we know that it was under the command of a captain this weekend, specifically historically, because they were being charged with digging defenses around the building, which it sounds like they built or dug a trench and then built what's referred to as chevaux de frise, which are sort of these big spiky fences to close this building in as a military perimeter. So around 30 to 40 men would have been who would have been here historically, and a lot of them would have either been making cartridges in the guardhouse, working on projects like making their hunting shirts here in the yard, or digging that ditch.
So is there any documentation stated why a captain was chosen for today and on other days?
There's not. It just says that Captain Tolliver and there's actually a lieutenant too are the ones who are assigned to oversee this project. There's another guy named Thomas Bullitt, which solid name, is the overall adjutant general and engineer for the colony, who is sort of giving the direction. But Captain Tolliver is the one who's responsible for the work party that's here.
Awesome. Okay, a couple more. So what inspired you to get involved in historical reenactments?
Yeah, so I've worked in public history now for over a decade. I got my start when I was a young 19-year-old in college working here at the magazine, and kind of fell in love with it. That I worked here at military programs for my entire college every summer, and then went on to work at the Frontier Culture Museum for several years and had the opportunity last year to come back and lead the military department here. I think it's really important to give Americans a tangible connection to the history that we're trying to represent. It's very easy to think about this time period as so far removed from where we are now that we stop thinking about these as people just like us. And, you know, they are not so distant, and their problems and struggles are a lot of the same ones that we relate to and deal with. So it's just pretty important to represent.
That's amazing. Yeah, no, it's always nice to know that, you know, we have to keep remembering our history so it doesn't repeat itself. So with that, what is the toughest part of living like an 18th century soldier?
I mean, in general, the best way to think about soldiering in the 18th century is that it is not the job many people want, but it's the job that a lot of people have, where the term that gets used a lot by modern reenactors is a certain degree of embracing the suck, or just that, you know, life as a soldier is not fun. Joseph Plum Martin writes probably the best account of the Revolution and describes his time, and the things he's talking about more so than anything else are really not the battles. It's trying to find food, trying to stay warm, losing his knapsack when the battles go poorly, and those kind of things really are a struggle. Soldiering is not an easy life. When we consider, you know, what soldiers wore, where they slept, what they did, a lot of it had to do with what is the cheapest and most efficient way for whatever the controlling power, whether it's the British government or the American government, what's the easiest way to skin that cat, not what is best for the soldiers.
So it sounds like history has continued to repeat itself. So when I was a U.S. Marine, it's the same exact thing. It's the cheapest, easiest, dirtiest thing we can do, and what's going to be the most cost effective for overall instead of the actual soldier. So what is one thing people often get wrong about life back in 1775?
Yeah, I mean, so I think the easy thing that a lot of people fall into is that it's such a different time. Whether you want to talk about sort of morals and ethics, whether you want to talk about experiences, and especially when it comes to soldiering, this notion of, you know, maybe a more noble time period when it comes to conflict. And the reality, which is a really important one, is these are human beings that go through the same emotional turmoil that we do. And when we consider warfare this period, it is, it's just as scary as it is today, in that the unfortunate reality is that humanity or inhumanity is not something that will ever change. So, it's really important not to think about these guys as, these noble founders, but rather as human beings just like you and me.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's really well said. So, last one for you, Captain. If you could bring one thing back from 1775, a skill or item, what would it be?
Oh, that's a really good question. I have a really weird answer. We know historically there were knitting machines that are these kind of wacky knitting frames that make very cheap and therefore widely affordable hats and stockings and things like that. That machine and the kind of how to do that is completely lost to history. Where sort of the industrial revolution and mechanization is just kind of deleted that. Our weavers actually did make an attempt several years ago to try to figure out how to sort of retrofit and make that process work. We just haven't been able to do it. Where the knit goods that we have today are not often to the same standard as
not near as high enough quality and everything.
Some people knit very well, but knitting by hand is way more time consuming than this magical machine that can do it for you.
That's awesome. Well, hey, thanks, Captain. Thank you very much for your time. Yeah. So, hey, everybody, this is Griz once again with the Everyday Moose. And remember, we are going to be exploring Colonial Williamsburg today, and we're going to be doing lots of adventures, and we're going to be doing more interviews with everybody and even some of the folks out here just to see what they think about it. Once again, thanks, Moosers. Have a great day.